रहीम। जी हमारा नेक्स्ट जो लेसन है वो है टू कंपेयर द फंक्शन ऑफ टू मेजर कैपिलरी बेड्स इन kidney, that is glomerular capillaries and peritubular capillaries. So comparison table between the glomerular capillaries and peritubular capillaries in the kidney is very informative and give us the total idea about the comparison. But before that, why not to make a difference between peritubular capillaries and the vasa recta? So peritubular capillaries surround the proximal convoluted tubule, PCT, distal convoluted tubule, and also the loop of Henle in cortical nephrons. So cortical nephron is significant. So these capillaries arise from the efferent arterioles of cortical nephrons and stay mostly in the cortex. Otherwise, the vasa recta are specialized long straight capillaries that run alongside the loop of Henle in juxtamedullary nephrons, which are very deep in medullary region, and they are present in those animals in which there is secretion of highly concentrated urine, and they are living in desert and like that. So they extend deep into medulla and are essential for the counter current exchange mechanism that maintain kidneys osmotic gradient as well. So juxtamedullary nephrons, they are having vasa recta, and they are also from these blood capillaries, capillary bed or capillaries, they are also from the efferent arterioles. So if the loop of Henle is short, as in cortical nephrons, it is surrounded by peritubular capillaries. If it is long and deep into the medulla, as in juxtamedullary nephron, it is accompanied by vasa recta, a sort of elongated uh, capillaries and surrounding the loop of Henle for countercurrent activity. So there is a table giving us the idea about different features. So we are having two tables, so we will discuss them in detail. So location, glomerular capillaries inside the Bowman's capsule within the renal corpuscle, and the peritubular capillaries surround the proximal and distal convoluted tubule and loop of Henle in cortical nephrons. So structure, highly fenestrated endothelium with thin basement membrane, very the space between the adjacent cells is greater. But in case of peritubular capillaries, the endothelium is continuous with narrow lumen and extensive branching. So blood pressure, high hydrostatic pressure around 50 millimeter of mercury due to efferent arteriole being wider than the efferent arteriole. So their ability is to withstand high blood pressure as compared to the peritubular capillaries. So in that case, low hydrostatic pressure around 10 to 15 millimeter of mercury to allow reabsorption. So the functional difference is there. One is to bring the filtrate the content out of the capillaries, and other is to reabsorb the contents from the interstitial spaces. So main function, filtration of blood plasma to form filtrate, ultrafiltration. This will be the function of glomerular capillaries. And the main function of the peritubular capillaries is to perform reabsorption of useful substances and secretion of waste into the tubular fluid. Flow direction. So the glomerular capillaries, they receive blood from efferent arterioles and drain into efferent arterioles. In case of peritubular capillaries, they receive blood from the efferent arterioles and drains into venule and renal vein. Special adaptation, fenestration allow the passage of water and solutes but restrict protein and cells. In case of the peritubular capillaries, they are having close proximity to tubule, facilitate exchange by diffusion and active transport. So these are the special. So that's why the peritubular capillaries, they don't have any need to possess fenestration, the long passages between the adjacent cells. So role in kidney physiology, initiate urine formation about the glomerular filtration. So initiate urine formation by filtering 20% of plasma per pass. So whenever there is blood, they receive blood from the efferent arteriole. So 20% of plasma will get out of the glomerulus capillaries into the Bowman's capsule. And in case of peritubular capillaries, they perform complete modifications of filtrate, which was present in the tubule through reabsorption like glucose, ions, water, and secretion of protons and potassium into it. In short, glomerulus capillaries are specialized for filtration under high pressure, and peritubular capillaries are specialized for reabsorption and secretion under low pressure. So this is the nutshell of those structures. The structural difference between glomerular and peritubular capillaries in the kidney is of significance. So why not to why not to have another look? So endothelium type, the structure, the tissue, the cells, they form those capillaries. So endothelium type differences. In case of glomerular capillaries, fenestrated endothelium having pores around 70 to 100 nanometer, not micrometer, nanometer for rapid filtration. And peritubular capillaries, because they are having continuous endothelium, so no large pores for selective exchange between the tubule and the peritubular capillaries. So basement membrane, in case of glomerulus capillaries, it is thick and having specialized glomerular basement membrane that act as filtration barrier along with the podocyte cells. The podocyte cells, they are the part of the Bowman's capsule. So this glomerular basement membrane is quite thick and won't allow the movement of larger molecules like proteins and blood cells. But in case of peritubular capillaries, the basement membrane, because its function is to perform reabsorption and secretion, so the basement membrane is quite thin. So associated structure in the glomerulus arteries, they enclose within the Bowman's capsule and surrounded by podocytes of Bowman's capsule, which is the part of the nephron. And in case of the peritubular arteries, they closely wrap around the renal tubule. Maybe the part is proximal convoluted tubule, maybe distal convoluted tubule, or the loop of Henle. So capillary arrangement, their special feature is the presence at that particular area where we consider their function. So capillary arrangement in case of the glomerular capillaries, they form a compact tuft-like network. But in case of peritubular capillaries, they form a loose, extensive branching network. Diameter and lumen, relatively wider lumen to handle high blood pressure flow. And in case of peritubular capillaries, the diameter is quite narrow because there is the requirement of to have slow blood flow for easy exchange. So wall thickness, so thicker walls due to filtration specialization. In case of peritubular capillaries, thinner walls for diffusion and active transport. So pressure adaptation adapted to withstand high blood pressure, comparative hydrostatic pressure, 50 milligram per 50 millimeter of mercury. And in case of peritubular capillaries, they are adapted to have to be a low pressure, that is around 10 to 15 millimeter of mercury for reabsorption. So we will compare it in a form of diagram. So the efferent atriole is providing and making the branching, extensive branching of glomerular capillaries within the Bowman's capsule here. And efferent atriole will take away the blood after providing that blood supply to the Bowman's capsule. So the efferent atriole will be responsible for the blood supply to peritubular capillaries. This is not to the scale. The arrangement is not up to the scale. It is just to give the idea that they are different from the glomerular capillaries. And from there will be movement of blood to renal vein and so on. So urinary, in case of function, when we compare the functions, so the glomerular capillaries, they are responsible for filtration, number one, and number two function is of the peritubular capillaries to reabsorb the useful materials from the filtrate present in the nephron tubule, maybe the proximal tubule, maybe loop of Henle, maybe convoluted, the distal convoluted tubule. So number three function is the secretion, that blood, useful material from the blood, rather waste material from the blood, like toxic materials, like other waste materials, are they will move from the peritubular capillaries into the lumen of nephron tubule. So last function of the nephron is excretion. So urinary excretion will pass on from this urinary tubule to the pelvis area and then ureter and urinary bladder. So this is the difference and the comparison between the peritubular capillaries and the glomerular capillaries. So hopefully we will be able to tackle all the questions if we receive, if we have any question in our paper during MDCAT test. So till the next lesson, this is all from my side.